We are waiting for you. I've got a very, very special guest tonight. A very good friend and a brother of mine. Someone I consider family. Jenny say, go and sleep, daddy, please. If you tell your papa, make you go sleep for us. Anyway, now on that bridge, your papa they sleep. So trailer where they pass, no, they let her sleep. That's why I know if you sleep. And you self, you know go fit sleep. The wickedness where they your heart, no go let you sleep. Make I block you. Ashimi, you come they beg me tomorrow, say make I unblock you. So you go pay 50,000 naira on blocking fee. I'll try me. Good morning, all of you. A special guest tonight, and I want us to talk briefly about a movie. And why I'm bringing this gentleman is he was one of the people who suggested that I watch this particular series on Netflix. Have you guys seen it? Bigger Than Africa. You guys need to see this series. We watched it yesterday. Taste Buds and I was like, yeah, okay. I know it's gonna. Then I saw that it was a bit long. It was over an hour. I was like, oh man, now wow. I shall put it on. I have this phone, Z Fold. So I just put it on. It has a really big screen. You can fold it and close it. So it's what I used to watch series if I don't want to watch on TV. So the phone closes. So it looks like a normal phone, but then you can open the screen. So it now looks like a really big iPad-ish kind of thing. So I just put it on. I said, okay, you know what? Instead of going to watch it on TV, let us just watch it on this phone. Now so Taste Buds no gree go work yesterday. Taste Buds didn't go to work. I didn't do anything the whole of yesterday morning. I was supposed to fly in my simulator from Abuja to Lagos. I ended up abandoning the simulator and abandoning everything and just watching this documentary. Ladies and gentlemen, he needs no introduction. One of the most generous men I know, always trying to help. Currently, he is building some hospitals in Nigeria. They are currently building one, if I'm correct, in Akwa Ibom. PT, am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. So, you were the first person to suggest.
How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you doing, PT? And we're both wearing green. It's just like your own green are like $5,000. My own are $50.
No, not the same amount.
What are you wearing? Sorry. Let's see what you're wearing. What are you wearing?
Alaba Market.
I turned to lizard here. I turned to lizard. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Pastor T was actually the second person who told me to watch this documentary. The first set of people who told me to watch it were like some agency who wanted me to watch and give my professional critique of that particular documentary. But the way Pastor Toby said, no, you just have to watch it. I've watched it 10 times. I'm like, okay. You know what? Let me go and watch it. And then all of a sudden, it dawns on me that we Africans don't know what we have. I saw an American boy with Yoruba tribal marks. I thought I had to pause the Netflix movie. I just realized this movie made me realize that you cannot screenshot on Netflix. Pastor Toby, I don't know if you noticed this. If
Really?
you try to screenshot on Netflix, it will show you a black screen.
Really?
Yes. Just try it. Because I wanted to screenshot this guy's face to see those
Right.
tribal marks. You know? And I had to use another phone to take a picture of the other phone and eventually use my hand and spread it. I have the picture here. You know, I was like, no, this is not possible. How can an American have Yoruba tribal marks? You understand? As in, they did not draw it with eye pencil. Proper tribal marks. The people who draw these tribal marks in, I grew up in Ibadan. They are called Alabede. Alabede.
Yeah.
Those are the people that draw. My father has tribal marks. Pastor T, I don't know if your dad has tribal marks.
He doesn't. I'll get him one, son, from this documentary.
From this documentary. My father has tribal marks. Let me look for my father's picture. I'm sure you can find my father's picture online. Daddy Free's father. Just Google images.
Right.
Yes. Oh, is my papa not old? You know they show again. My father has 3 tribal marks here on his cheek. You can't see in the picture, but you know, and tribal marks have always been something that even we Africans have stopped doing. Because after my father, his younger ones didn't get tribal marks. His elder ones had tribal marks, but his younger ones didn't get tribal marks. So even in his own time, it had started fading out. Only for me to see a young man who's probably about my age in South Carolina with African tribal marks, speaking with pride of Africa, Africanism, Yoruba, Shango, and then we have thrown all these things away. PT, what's your take on that before we go any further?
First of all, good evening, everybody. Daddy Free's followers and friends. I, as you know already, I love the documentary. I think I keep speaking to you about it, and it's because I hardly watch this platform.
Netflix.
I hardly have time. But then I seen this and I thought, bigger than Africa. So for me, because I read a lot of biographies, I love to read about people's stories a lot. I think I've read about 2,000 biographies and autobiographies. I've got everywhere in this office filled with them. So because I love that, I'm thinking, what's bigger than Africa? Like, what is this? Let me see. So I've clicked on it. And then it starts. 5 minutes into it, I'm thinking, okay, this is interesting. I do know about the history, some story about Yorubas spread across the world. Baba Obasanjo told me a few one-on-one and all the stuff. But on Netflix, really, I'm thinking this is going to be another Onyibo man's talk about Africa. But this wasn't it. This was different. So I appreciate the fact, and I do hope that they do that about other tribes too. I hope they do that about the Awusas and the Hebrews, so that we can see. But for now, this is about the Yoruba tribe, and I think it's quite fascinating. I think it's quite, it draws you in to at least to learn, and so that we're not caged to one set of belief for the rest of our lives. Bigger than Africa.
Pastor Toby, please pardon me. My mother is always complaining that I drink from a bottle. I should have a cup. But me, you know, I know Sabi form all this too much.
We are no Igbo man though.
You know, so my mom, they always complain.
Kubana was just saying, when I sit at the face, how Igbo?
How I be Igbo? Because I don't get tribal mark. Anyway, I posted something today. You know, this got me thinking, and because you see, in Brazil, in South Carolina, in Cuba, in Trinidad and Tobago, you could see that the black church and the traditional Yoruba people who went to these places via the slave route.
Yeah.
Many of them had infused Africanism into the church. So the idea of church is a little different from the Oyinbo version we have here. And permit me to say this. Earlier on today, PT, I don't know if you saw this on my page, but I put up a picture, or should I say two pictures. One of Martin Luther King, I did this yesterday, and one of the Oyinbo version of quote and unquote Jesus. And I said, pop quiz, one of them died for you. Which one? Choose wisely. So I had about 500 comments on it yesterday. You could see it was, I didn't expect it to go that far. It was like, whoa, 500 and something people commenting on this. About 2,000 likes, you know, and back and forth. Then this morning, I revisited the topic after taking one or two comments. And some guy came there and said, Thomas Sankara, Lumumba, Stephen Biko, Sarowiwa, those are the guys where you for post, not MLK. That's Martin Luther King. And I replied, I said, listen, with the way Nigerians, they jackpot go US and Canada, if not for people like Martin Luther King, now slave work, we for go they do. You see? And I went on to say that this Oyinbo guy here, this is not Christ. This is not a representation of Christ. This is a whitewashed ideology of a savior that lived close to Africa and actually ran to Africa when he was a child because Herod threatened to kill him.
Right.
So we have Christianity. The first African that was converted was done biblically, the eunuch of Ethiopia that worked under the Kandake.
Yeah.
In Acts chapter 8. But all of a sudden, we have Africa dribbled out of Christianity, and all of a sudden we have it that some British people came with their ships, took our ancestors on board, and left Christianity behind. The whole whitewashing of Christianity. Let's also remember that the first boat that came to the coast of Africa to carry slaves was called the Jesus of Lubbock. So when you're looking at these things, it gave me, that's why I said I was going to call Pastor Toby. I said, PT, how you they view this matter?
Yeah.
The Oyinbo, whether you like it or not, or should I say, as far as I'm concerned, because I'm also here with an authority, let me not impose my views. As far as I am concerned, and my personal opinion, the Christianity most of Africa, and if not the rest of the world, is practicing is a whitewashed Christianity that left Israel as a family, got to Rome and was turned into a religion, got to the UK, became politics, and finally landed in Africa as a business. All starting with the whitewashing of a belief system that is actually close to, if not part of, our African identity. Before we go any further, what are your thoughts on that, Pastor Toby?
Well, there's no doubt about the fact that it's a white religion that we practice, but the worst one, I'll leave that to you because you're more of authority. but it is very white. I think the ideology itself is fundamentally faulty. I grew up in a church. I'm a pastor's kid, so I get all the And I don't think, you see, when it evolved into being a business-like movement, I don't think the people that were at the forefront of it know what they were doing. They didn't know. They were evolving without even knowing, or devolving, whichever way, without knowing that they're getting into something that they don't understand. So if you see a pastor preaching from my generation, 40 years old or stuff like that, he's just repeating what he learned from someone else. He doesn't know what he's saying on most occasions. Because right now, if it's going to be true religion, true spirituality, like James said, it's going to be revolutionary in nature. And revolutionary in nature does not just mean that it's saying change of government. It's just different from what it meant. So if you already dress in a certain way and you address people in a certain way, you sit in that theater style stuff, I already know you're just repeating your childhood fantasies. So you've seen it on TV so much that you're repeating it and all those stuff. So my opinion back to Bigger Than Africa. What's my opinion about? I think what would happen, like it's happening in the UK right now. Right now means from about 15, 20 years ago. A normal African would say, oh, UK people don't go to church. They don't believe in God. You know, Africans, their religion, it's terrible. I'm telling you. So they always say UK people don't go to church. No, they've evolved. They then evolve past the concept and the belief of church, which is God's family on earth, but they've evolved past certain practices. They've been able to think beyond where we are now as Africans. They've been able to free themselves from embracing, some of them, have been able to free themselves from embracing just a static, continuous, endless practice of things that we never questioned. You know, growing up in African homes, you don't question anything. You can't question it. If you question it, it's like God is going to kill you. So some of us have been now speaking about God is not going to kill you. You understand? God can speak for himself. You've got to question him and be able to get right answers so that you can create a better world. So I think documentaries like Bigger Than Africa causes people to think. It makes you think and ask questions.
Leading us to my next point, you and I were talking this evening, and I must say this. I've known Pastor Toby for a while. I like the way he vibes. I like his ideology. I like the fact that he listens to me, gives me input, you know. But I didn't realize what he was doing until I got to the UK. And I didn't even share. There was one day I just came back from the UK. This is my last trip. And I called Pastor Toby for like 2 hours. And I started sharing things with him. I said, Pastor Toby, you are actually doing what Christians did in the early church days and during the time of Christ. I say you might not realize this, but you are living proof of Acts chapter 4 if you read from verse 32 all the way down. Pastor Toby does not live alone. As you are seeing him, he lives with his church members. They have these houses all over the UK where a minimum of 5 to 10 church members live together